Hi, welcome back, and it's great to have you with us again, James.
Great to be back, Ken.
First time for 2015.
Well, I guess it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and it'd be nice if our story was a happy, light, celebratory story.
It
never is. No, the situation for religious freedom is quite dire right now, isn't it?
It is. 2015 has started off as a very, very serious and a difficult year for religious freedom, particularly in the Middle East, particularly with the attacks that are occurring by ISIS and their followers around the world, but particularly in around the Middle Eastern countries.
But today you wanted to talk to us about, well, I guess reflecting on this religious freedom situation. A lot of people are reflecting on it, including US President Obama. Yeah,
interesting. There was a poll out that was just done this week, which looked at the American people's reaction to President Obama's prayer breakfast speech. Now, you wouldn't think a prayer breakfast speech would be controversial. You'd go there.
Until Ben Carson.
Until Ben Carson.
Yeah.
Well, apparently now it's a new tradition.
Yeah.
And President Obama, when he was giving his speech, made what many people are calling a moral equivalency between what ISIS is doing to Christians right now in the Middle East to historic crimes of Christians many, many centuries ago.
Well, that's fair enough, isn't it, James? I mean, sometimes people lump, Islam with violence. It's a violent religion. It's a terrible religion. We Christians are so much better. Surely we should be reminded that, wait a minute, in its past, Christianity has been a violent religion.
That's one way of looking at it. Another way of looking at it, and this is the way that 50% of Americans who responded to a poll said what President Obama said was inappropriate. Only just a little over 30% thought it was okay. And I think the reason for that, Ken, isn't because people are in denial about history. It's because of context. Right now we have a genocide going on against Christians. True. Is this really the time that the President of the United States should be up lecturing Christians about their past, transgressions?
And therefore minimizing or justifying in some way the violence that's happening right now?
That is exactly the way that people have taken it. Also, in the State of the Union address, which was just a few weeks before, in that State of the Union address, President Obama listed out persecuted groups. He talked about anti-Semitism, he talked about Islamophobia, he talked about crimes against gay, lesbian, bisexual, and transgender people. There's one group President Obama did not mention.
Possibly the group that's actually the most persecuted religion in the world today?
The most persecuted religion in the world today. And to me, and that of course is Christians, just in case you're in any doubt, you can just check on that. Christians are under pressure all over the globe, but particularly, as we're mentioning, by ISIS. And I think the question is this. This has happened in the last few years. What kind of leadership are we seeing from the leader of the greatest country, the most powerful country on earth? For the first term of President Obama's presidency, he had an ambassador at large for international religious freedom who was not well qualified for that position. That was brought up to him. I brought up to his staff.
Yeah. And you mentioned that there's now a new one who's
There's a new one who's great.
Yep.
Rabbi David Saperstein, someone who I know well, who's going to do a great job. But guess what? You only get to be president in 8 years. He's starting. There's only a couple of years to go, and the opportunity
not a lot of time to get runs on the board.
So when President Obama gets up, within this context, at this particular time, and makes this particular comment, you can understand why some Christians look at that and say, that's just not appropriate. Not right now, not at this time, not unless you have the runs on the board to show that you have really stood up against the persecution of Christians at this absolutely critical juncture.
Wow. Okay, well, thanks for that, James. It's very, very sobering, but yeah, thanks for being here.
Pleasure.